What is going on, everybody? I know it's been a little while since I've done a video. If you watched our last video, we had a little bit of a radiator issue at the last event. So what we're going to do today, kind of just go over like the front end. For those who don't know, I swapped a 3.5 EcoBoost in this car back in 2016. So you can kind of see how we did a lean forward radiator. That's the intercooler. The duct that goes right here I already took out. So this is the intercooler duct. The radiator goes out and then out the holes in the hood, and then here's the intake tube which goes through. So I think it might be an alright little video to get the radiator out, kind of try and figure out what went wrong, and then a little bit of a heads up on something I will be doing, but not in this video, is rear mounted radiator. This is something I've been wanting to do for a long time. I bought this just kind of for fitment, to kind of see everything. Basically cut a hole in the floor, and that's about it. But that's a whole nother video. But if you want to see that one, hit that subscribe button. So yeah, let's get this radiator out and kind of see if we can figure out exactly where that hole is, and yeah, go from there. Alright guys, so I put the pressure tester on it, and you can see that quickly we got this puddle here, and it's actually running down from quite a ways up. You know, obviously I knew I had a leak. This still doesn't tell me exactly where. Oh, geez, look at this. It's wet all the way up here. See? So, yeah, where the heck? Very interesting. So, yeah, I'm gonna get the pressure off of it, drain it. I just need to get the whole entire radiator out of the car and go run it up to a local radiator shop, see if they can kind of like weld wherever the holes are. Alright guys, so now with the hoses off, everything out of the way, I think I just showed earlier that we were leaking from somewhere in this corner, and now that I'm thinking about it, this hole right here and here is what the intercooler attaches to. This little shroud thing was welded onto this radiator when I got it. This radiator it's got a lot of races on it, so I don't know if the weight of the intercooler, the weight of it is maybe like put an extra weight over here, although this shroud is only really tack welded on way down here. So I don't know, but just for like funsies, we're gonna weigh this real quick. And this was actually a fun project. Way before I started doing videos, I made myself carbon fiber end tanks for this. But, you know, that's a whole nother video, another topic. So it's just over 17 pounds. So that's kind of a lot of weight for that thing just to be hanging from this, and all that weight is going into the radiator. So that may have kind of had something to do with it as well. You know, in hindsight, I maybe should have like mounted it separately or something. What's going on, everybody? I'm getting ready for this weekend's race. It is actually Thursday, so nothing like waiting until the last day. I'm doing a few odds and ends on finally replacing my outer tie rod end, which replaced for this one. This one, you can see how loose this ball is just by, and you might be, I don't know, might be a little hard to see, but that little tiny bit of movement in this, by the time you come all the way out to the wheel, you know, I was getting almost like an 1/8 inch of slop, you know. So the toe angle of the wheel was just doing whatever. I knew that's been kind of loose for a little bit, so finally getting around to changing it. The other thing I'm doing, rear wheel bearings. Somebody reached out to me, I think on another YouTube video. Used to work at Roush, I think he said Roush, on the S550 race cars, and he was saying rear wheel bearings on the S550s are only good for like 4 or 5 hours of track time. They would get them, kind of like repack them with their own grease and stuff. So he said that the vibration I was feeling last event out with this thing could be the rear wheel bearings. So I'm going to put new ones in. If the vibration goes away, great, that was it. If it doesn't, all right, now I got spare wheel bearings, you know, so which is a wearable item. So yeah, I think that's about it. I'm gonna look over all my brackets from when I did the, you know, the S550 swap. Make sure nothing's moving on any of this. Kind of just look everything over pretty good. But I mean, otherwise, the car, as far as the rear end swap, worked awesome. Last race, I'm going to get the radiator. I'm going to pick that up, get that back in. So yeah, I don't think I really foresee any issues getting ready to, you know, get this thing ready for this weekend. Alright, so I got the old one out. You can see a tiny bit of like just surface rust, nothing bad. And obviously before I took it off, I kind of like really pulled on the wheel to see if there was any slop in it. And you probably can't hear anything. It feels really good, like there's no like little notchy bit or anything compared to the new one. Like they feel almost exactly the same. So this might be a pointless thing. Still unsure, but yeah, like I said, if the vibration is still there, that at least eliminates the wheel bearings, and then these originals will be my spares. Alright, so the radiator is repaired and back in, along with some of the ductwork. This piece can go in by itself. Pretty much all I have left to do is tie rod. That's to let me know that it's still loose, as you can see. So tomorrow, all I have to do is an alignment and fill it with water, and we're ready to go racing. Alright guys, it's about 6 in the morning, but I printed a super secret weapon that I'm gonna use. I'm gonna put this on at the track, but there it is. What is going on, everybody? We're at lovely New Jersey Motorsports Park. We're on the Lightning Circuit this weekend. Last event we were over on Thunderbolt on the other side. Yeah, so I'm getting the car together, but I pointed this thing out earlier, and I'll show you what it is. So this hole right here goes to my air box right there. So I printed myself a velocity stack. So some people call them like bell mouse, velocity stacks, intake trumpets. I think they're kind of the three, but velocity stack kind of seems to be the popular one. But anyways, this should smooth the air going into the air box. So that way, you know, if I get smoother air into here, can I almost, not really pressurize, but have a little less vacuum on the filter, which then goes to the turbos. Does it work? I don't know. I'll put some links down below to some promising CFD studies that show that it should be a benefit, but I don't think it would hurt. So yeah, we're gonna throw that on real quick. But yeah, just get ready for the weekend. All right, so I 3D printed a template to perfectly match the holes on the back of this. So that should make install super easy. Alright, so here it is on, and as you can see, it should almost just like a brake duct, any type of duct work, should just kind of smooth the air going into the air filter housing, which is sealed. So, you know, probably at least a half second a lap from that alone. Just kidding. Alright guys, so session 1 is done. Car felt pretty good. I only did temps and pressures on the left side, because that's the side that really gets hammered around here. Might be a little bit under pressured. Yeah, that's an 8. Looks like a 6, but that was an 8. So, our rears came up about 10 as well. I think what I'm going to do now is the rear of the car, I'm going to lower it about 1/8 of an inch, because the splitter biscuits are hitting. The splitter is about 2 3/8 of an inch from ground clearance. So if I lower the rear, it would effectively be raising the front a tiny bit. The car, it's a little bit loose in the turns 2, 3, 4 section. So I think putting a little bit more weight on the rear might kind of, I think it'll be a step in the right direction to get through there a little bit quicker. But that's all I'm really going to change before next session. Don't want to change too much. Well, with everything going on, I'm getting ready to lower the car, and see those little drops of oil? So you got oil there, a bunch of oil. I forgot to put the little breather tube on up to a reservoir, which is kind of right behind where my finger's pointing. So, I have to MacGyver it while I'm here. We're gonna use, luckily I just bring random bits of like hose and everything, so I'm pretty sure this will fit. Let's get you set up. Use a water bottle. I'm just gonna kind of thread this into the cap, run it from the diff up to this, and there you go, there's my breather. Should be enough to get me through the weekend. Last thing I want to do is drill it too big, because I only have 24 case of water, so I got 24 tries to get this right. Alright, so it fits snug enough. We got our breather. This goes on here. So yeah, there we go. It should be good to go. And then I'll jump back on what everything else I was planning to do. Alright, there goes my race group. I should be out there right now. But I think I already pointed out the oil situation. I found something else. So that one ear is completely cracked right there. So I get to swap a diff in it now. Fortunately, our friends right at TK Autosport, they're like they're right around the corner from the track here. So they had this one laying around. I'm gonna be starting last if I get it in before the race. It's qualifying right now, so yeah, you know, time to hustle, get this thing in, and get back out there. Alright guys, this is not the ending I wanted to do to this video. What happened was, I could have swore when I got this whole rear end assembly, it was from a GT, but apparently this housing is from an EcoBoost or a V6. Apparently GTs didn't come with an aluminum housing, maybe that's why. But I remember way back when I did the drive shaft, it originally came with a flange that was too big to go in here. I thought it was just like a mess up or something, but it makes sense because now an actual GT differential, this flange is larger than that one, and the bolt pattern is different. Well, the bolt pattern's a little bit bigger, which means my drive shaft won't bolt to the new one. Yep, wrapping up early this weekend. So, yeah, I guess that's kind of how I have to close this one out, and which sucks because this is the last race of this year. But big plans for this. We got a ton of stuff coming up, some big announcements, right? So, as always guys, thanks for hanging out. But wait, we got some data to look over. So despite only getting a handful of laps, we still have some interesting data we can look at. The blue line is this weekend of my practice session, where the red and the orange are the best laps I ever did previously, which was the ST2 Aero last year, but on Toyo tires. So you can see last year I did a 109.075, 109.1. I was able to do a 109.001. So I still went quicker than I ever have, not by as much, but if you go back and watch the clip of me on track, there was a car off track left going into, this is turn 2, 3 through 4 here. This is accelerating up to 5. You can see how much I gave up right there, and I already pulled a delta across it. And if you look down here, you can see just through there I lost 4 or 5 tenths of a second alone. Another trend is you can see I'm kind of just braking early, just getting reused to the car. It's first session out with the Hoosiers on Lightning, so that's why I'm kind of, just kind of taking it easy into the brake zones, which I'm giving up time. Every time in the brake zone you can see I'm giving up time. So that's another interesting one. I'm obviously overslowing again with the Hoosiers, but some interesting bits are, even though I'm overslowing, the gears are kind of getting me up and going quicker because I'm overslowing. Again, getting up and going quicker here and coming out of the bowl at the end. So, positive things altogether. One interesting thing is, despite the car not having a diffuser, you can see max GPS speed is 33.3, where previously it was a 30.6, 30.8. So the car picked up almost 3 miles an hour. Same exact tune, never changed the tune. Again, having those wider wheels and tires versus last year, and the flares, the car should have picked up drag. So is it the gearing? Is it the air skirts making the car a little less draggy? Is it the velocity stack kind of giving me a few extra horsepower at the end of the straight? Because if we go to our channels report, compare them all. So this year you can see, 33.9, 33.3, 33, 32, where previously 28, 29, 30, a best of a 32, a best of a 31.7. So the car picked up a little bit of straight line speed despite being a wider car now. So that's kind of promising as well. So, so despite only having one session to get a few laps of data, I can kind of see some things are going in the right direction. I was definitely underdriving the car. The car definitely had an 8, obviously. Maybe even well deep into the 107s for sure. But unfortunately, as you just saw, the diff broke. So that's about it for my 2020 season. And unfortunately, only having that one session, I kind of almost have more questions than answers right now. So that's where I'm going to have to wrap this one up. We got a ton of stuff planned for this winter, so remember, hit that subscribe button so you can keep up to date with all future projects. As always, guys, thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you in the next one.